Humans were banned from the auction, so I bought the legendary Starship anyway. He didn't have the wealth, the noble connections, or the polished credentials that most interstellar entrepreneurs used to navigate the galaxy's high-stakes deals. What he had instead was an unshakable curiosity, quick hands, and a mind that never stopped running in unexpected directions. For a human, these were both blessings and curses. The galaxy, as it turned out, had very little respect for humans. Centuries of rumors painted them as reckless, impulsive, and dangerously unpredictable. Humans were known to solve problems with creative improvisation rather than strict logic, to push limits when no one else would, and for reasons the aliens claimed, to break things that should not be broken. As a result, humans were barred from almost every elite auction of ships, weapons, and artifacts. And yet here he was, standing at the edge of one such forbidden event, the intergalactic starship auction of the Zephyr Ring, where the most legendary vessels were traded and the galaxy's wealthiest elites gathered. No human had been here in decades. And certainly, no human had ever walked out owning a ship like the Starship Ardent. Kai glanced around the grand hall. Towering crystalline walls reflected light in colors that seemed impossible, while alien dignitaries floated, hovered, or strutted across the polished floors. Some had 4 arms, some none. Some were transparent, others glimmered with metallic exoskeletons. Each was adorned in the richest fabrics and metals, murmuring in complex tonal languages as they sized one another up. Most of them glanced at him, or rather, ignored him. He was a human, out of place, small, and likely considered insignificant. That suited him perfectly. Kai's entrance had been subtle. He wore a hollow disguise, projecting him as a species the auction organizers hadn't seen in centuries, a rare species known for its neutrality in galactic politics. Only a few trusted allies knew the truth, and even they were skeptical about his plan. But Kai believed one thing above all: rules were meant to be understood first, then bent, then rewritten. He moved quietly toward the display chamber. The hall fell silent as the starships were revealed one by one: sleek freighters, stealth vessels, luxury liners, and experimental craft designed to outmaneuver entire fleets. Yet none of them drew the crowd's excitement like the Starship Ardent. It hovered in a central pedestal, a ship that seemed to shimmer with its own inner light. Its surface was smooth, like black glass polished to perfection, with intricate lines that suggested both elegance and raw power. Rumors said the Ardent could adapt its systems to any captain's thought patterns, anticipate threats before they appeared, and navigate impossible routes through space. In short, it was legendary. Owning it was not just about wealth, it was about legacy. And it was strictly forbidden to humans. The auctioneer's voice rang across the hall, modulated by a harmonic device so even species without hearing could perceive it as vibrations of authority. Esteemed bidders, we present the Starship Ardent. Let the auction begin. Kai's pulse quickened. He wasn't here to outbid anyone traditionally. He didn't have the trillions in credits that the alien aristocrats flaunted. What he had was a plan that required timing, observation, and just enough audacity to shock everyone into inaction. As the bidding started, Kai's eyes scanned the room, noting patterns in behavior. The Zorathians always bid in odd multiples of 10, as if their psychology demanded symmetry. The Dravari preferred subtle gestures to signal offers to their representatives. And the Mercanti Guild, well, the Mercanti Guild had no discernible pattern, making them dangerous but predictable if observed carefully. Kai whispered into a tiny earpiece. "Now," he said. His allies nodded from concealed positions, executing their parts. In an instant, the auction hall was subtly disrupted, not with force but with confusion. Holoscreens flickered, microprojectors misaligned. Digital credits showed unusual patterns, just long enough to distract the most cautious bidders. And then Kai acted. Sliding a hand across a concealed panel at his wrist, he initiated the binding protocol. It was a clever loophole. By offering an anonymous, sealed bid in a rare currency not recognized by the auction's governing council, he triggered a clause buried in the fine print. The Starship Ardent had a provision. If a bid from an unrecognized species or unknown source exceeded the opening benchmark by a certain factor, the ship would temporarily bind itself to the bidder for verification. The hall erupted in chaos. Alien bidders screamed at their representatives, signals flashed across the floor, and alarms rang. But Kai remained calm. The Ardent's energy field shimmered, and for a moment it hovered slightly higher, as if acknowledging him. The auctioneer's voice trembled through the harmonic vibrations. This is impossible. A human, Kai stepped forward, lowering his hollow disguise just enough for a glint of his human face to show. The room froze. Aliens exchanged worried glances. This wasn't just a violation of protocol. By galactic law, humans were not allowed to own legendary starships. And yet, here he stood. "Congratulations, Mr. Arden." The Arden's AI spoke internally, directly into Kai's mind. Its voice was melodic, unbound by words, conveying curiosity, recognition, and challenge all at once. "You have chosen to bend rules before understanding them. I will observe you. Prove yourself." Kai felt a thrill. Owning the Ardent was only the beginning. The galaxy thought humans were reckless, chaotic, and weak. What it didn't realize was that humans thrived in uncertainty. They saw opportunities where others saw risk. They solved problems that aliens deemed unsolvable. The chaos in the auction hall escalated. Alien enforcers approached, ready to confiscate the ship. Bids were being invalidated. Laws were cited in multiple languages. Yet Kai moved with precision, activating the Ardent's AI protocols to shield itself from external interference. The ship subtly repositioned, presenting a wall of energy that prevented unauthorized boarding, yet caused no harm to anyone. It was a display of intelligence, not violence, a human's kind of victory. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, the auctioneer, face pale with shock, made a declaration. "The Starship Ardent is bound to the highest confirmed bidder. Verification pending." Kai exhaled. That word, verification, was all that remained. As long as the Ardent's AI approved, he would become the galaxy's first human owner of a legendary starship. And from the way the ship hummed under his hands, he felt a spark of recognition that went beyond machinery. Walking out of the hall, Kai sensed the weight of attention. Everyone in the room had seen it. Every alien dignitary, every bidding representative, every enforcer knew that humans had just done the impossible. Whispers spread like wildfire across the galaxy. A human owns the Ardent. Outside, the Zephyr Ring's twin suns glinted off the cityscape, reflecting off the metallic towers of the orbiting stations. Kai boarded the Ardent, feeling its hull pulse under his hands, almost as if it was breathing. He had entered a world that had tried to exclude him. Now he was at the center of it. The first challenge awaited almost immediately. Kai discovered that the Ardent was not just a ship, it was a sentient entity. Its corridors shifted subtly, testing him. Controls adapted to his thought patterns. Diagnostics were not static. They posed riddles, puzzles, challenges designed to push his intuition to the limits. It was not enough to own the Ardent, he had to earn its cooperation. Kai smiled. Humans were not known for their patience, but they excelled in creativity. He moved through the ship, exploring its chambers, noting how each system responded to his presence. The AI wasn't simply helping him, it was learning him, teasing him, and waiting for him to prove that humanity was worth its trust. For the first time, Kai felt the exhilaration of what humans did best, standing against impossible odds and emerging not through strength, but through ingenuity, courage, and adaptability. As the Zephyr Ring's orbital station rotated silently in space, the galaxy outside buzzed with rumors, whispers, and disbelief. Humans had been banned. Humans had been ignored. And yet, one human had just rewritten the rules. Kai leaned against the smooth, humming hull of the Ardent, staring at the stars streaking by in the slipstream drive. Ahead lay challenges no human or alien had faced, and for the first time in history, a human would navigate them aboard a legendary starship. The galaxy would have to watch, because humans, it seemed, had only just begun. Kai Arden had thought that winning the Ardent was the hardest part. He was wrong. The first hours aboard the legendary starship revealed a truth the galaxy had never expected. The Ardent was alive in a way that no human or alien had ever experienced. It didn't speak with words, at least not out loud. Instead, it communicated directly with his mind, in patterns of thought and emotion. Every action he took, every decision he made, seemed to be observed, measured, and tested. Kai's first steps on the main deck were cautious. The ship's surfaces gleamed like black liquid glass, reflecting his own image in fragmented patterns. When he reached for the main control panel, the interface shifted instantly. Buttons, levers, and displays reorganized themselves into a layout that made sense to him, yet no one else could have guessed it. Curious, he thought, it adapts to me. The Ardent hummed in response, a subtle vibration in the floor that Kai felt in his chest rather than his ears. It was neither mechanical nor biological, but something in between. It tested him as he navigated its corridors. Doors would open only if he approached them with clear purpose. Holographic simulations appeared unexpectedly, presenting puzzles designed to assess his problem-solving skills. Kai quickly realized that the ship did not want just a captain, it wanted a partner, someone who could understand its mind. Hours turned into a full cycle of orbital rotations. Kai was already exhausted, yet exhilarated. He had spent his whole life relying on human creativity and adaptability, and now every instinct he had was being challenged by a machine that seemed almost omniscient. No alien could do this, he thought. They follow rules, they calculate risks. Humans improvise. The first challenge came as a subtle test of intuition. A holographic display projected an unstable wormhole just outside the Zephyr ring. The Ardent asked for an immediate navigational solution. Alien captains, if faced with this, would have frozen, running every simulation multiple times. But Kai's human mind saw patterns differently. He recognized an opportunity where others would see danger. Instead of avoiding the wormhole, he calculated a precise vector that would allow the ship to glide through the unstable region using its own energy fields. The ship hummed approvingly, and a corridor of light appeared, marking a new area previously inaccessible. The Ardent's AI had granted him the first small reward, trust. As he explored, Kai began to notice small quirks. The ship could anticipate his moves in subtle ways. Tools floated to his hands, energy displays shifted to match his gaze, and sections of the hull adjusted temperature and lighting based on his mood. The Ardent wasn't just responding, it was collaborating, learning him, and subtly encouraging him to think in ways even he hadn't considered. Days passed, and rumors of a human commanding the legendary Ardent began to spread across the Zephyr ring and beyond. At first the whispers were incredulous. Humans? Really? Then, as Kai successfully piloted minor maneuvers and resolved technical anomalies that had baffled alien engineers for decades, the whispers shifted to astonishment. He's good. Incredible even. Kai knew that the galaxy still doubted humans. He knew that many species considered humans primitive, fragile, or chaotic. Yet the Ardent rewarded human ingenuity, intuition, creativity, and boldness. Kai understood now why the ship had chosen him. No alien could think like a human in unpredictable situations, and the galaxy had underestimated that ability for centuries. The next challenge was social. Alien factions, curious and envious, attempted to contact him under formal and informal pretenses. The Zorathians sent diplomats to negotiate the Ardent's return. The Dravari tried to bribe him with rare alloys. The Mercanti Guild attempted legal maneuvers to nullify the sale. Each approach was clever, subtle, and meant to intimidate. Kai handled them all with his human traits: honesty when advantageous, creativity when cornered, and confidence when doubted. The Ardent's AI mirrored his approach, sometimes projecting advice, other times letting him make mistakes and learn from them. Humans excelled in situations where the rules were unclear. The aliens were rigid. Kai thrived. One evening, while orbiting a remote moon for system diagnostics, Kai discovered the Ardent's most astonishing feature. It could adapt its structure to any need. Walls reshaped themselves to optimize workflow. Engines reconfigured to conserve energy or maximize speed. Shields anticipated external conditions, adjusting themselves in milliseconds. This was no ordinary starship. It was a living, thinking entity. Kai spent hours testing its capabilities. He sent simulations of asteroid fields, gravitational anomalies, and energy storms. Every time, the ship responded in ways that no pre-programmed AI could. It was as if it trusted him to push its limits, and in return, it would show him the possibilities of human-led innovation. During one late-cycle exercise, a challenge arrived that shook him. A sector near the outer fringe was unstable, with energy readings that fluctuated faster than sensors could process. It was a puzzle that alien engineers had tried to solve for years and failed. The Ardent projected a holographic interface, asking him to stabilize the sector. Kai's mind raced. He didn't have the full data, he didn't have the standard protocols, but humans were adaptive. He recognized patterns in the energy fluctuations, realized the timing of natural resonance cycles, and rerouted auxiliary systems in a method no alien engineer would consider. Combining old Earth engineering principles with the Ardent's advanced predictive AI. The sector stabilized in real time. Lights flashed in approval across the bridge, and the AI's acknowledgement was immediate and clear. You think differently. You understand the impossible. Word spread faster than Kai had anticipated. News channels across multiple star systems broadcasted images of the Ardent maneuvering with impossible precision, piloted by a human. Skeptical species began to question their assumptions about humanity. Humans were supposed to be weak, reckless, and limited. And yet here was one human achieving what entire fleets of experts had failed to do. The increased attention brought new challenges. Some species attempted to sabotage the Ardent remotely, sending signals designed to override its systems. But Kai had anticipated the tactics, working with the AI to create adaptive defenses that neutralized intrusions without harm. Every time the galaxy tried to enforce its rules, Kai found a solution, not through force, but through ingenuity and collaboration. Meanwhile, Kai explored the ship's hidden systems. He discovered storage areas containing tools and devices beyond current galactic standards, archives of knowledge from civilizations long extinct, and experiments in propulsion, energy manipulation, and artificial intelligence. The Ardent's AI encouraged him to learn, to experiment, and to innovate. Each discovery was a lesson, each puzzle a way to push his human mind further. In quiet moments, Kai realized the Ardent had become more than a vessel. It was a mentor, partner, and ally, amplifying the very human traits the galaxy had dismissed: curiosity, boldness, and creativity. He began to understand why humans had survived for millennia, often underestimated, often dismissed, yet always adapting. By the end of the orbital cycle, Kai had mastered basic operations of the Ardent, solved technical anomalies that no alien had, and demonstrated a capacity for adaptive problem-solving that made entire sectors sit up and take notice. Yet he knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges that tested not only technology, but strategy, diplomacy, and human intuition. One night, as he sat in the observation deck watching stars streak past, Kai reflected on the journey. Being banned from the auction had seemed like a barrier. But in reality, it had forced him to think differently, to push harder, and to rely on what humans did best: adapt, innovate, and never give up. The Ardent hummed beside him, almost imperceptibly vibrating in approval. Kai smiled. The galaxy had underestimated him. It had underestimated humans, and the universe was about to find out that banning humans from the auction had not prevented them from achieving greatness. It had only delayed it. Kai tapped a command into the console. The ship's engines responded, purring with power. He set a course toward the outer fringe, where anomalies, mysteries, and challenges awaited. Humans had been excluded from elite circles for centuries. But now, in the cockpit of the legendary Ardent, one human was rewriting expectations, not with violence or force, but with courage, intelligence, and creativity. The galaxy would watch. The galaxy would doubt. And yet the galaxy would learn that humans were capable of the impossible. Kai Arden had learned much in the past cycles. He had tamed the Ardent, mastered its systems, and proven that humans were clever, creative, and resilient. Yet he knew the galaxy would not rest. Humans were still underestimated, still dismissed as unpredictable, weak, or reckless. The first real test arrived in the form of a galactic crisis that no alien faction could solve. A vast star cluster on the edge of the outer fringe was destabilizing. Energy readings indicated that it could collapse into a chain reaction, threatening nearby colonies and trade routes. Alien fleets had tried every calculation, every simulation, and every approach known to their civilizations. All had failed. When Kai received the distress signal, he knew this was the moment humans could prove themselves. He had a choice: observe from a safe distance, as alien experts might, or take a bold, human approach. Humans, after all, thrived on challenges that others avoided. The Ardent responded immediately, anticipating his thought patterns. Its AI pulsed with energy, projecting simulations, analyzing the instability and highlighting areas where conventional solutions had failed. Kai studied the data carefully. There were thousands of variables, many conflicting. Alien minds would freeze. Human intuition thrived in uncertainty. Kai made a decision. Instead of trying to control the cluster directly, he would synchronize the Ardent's energy fields with the natural resonance of the stars themselves, guiding the cluster into stability. It was risky, untested, and exactly the kind of solution a human would attempt. The first attempt failed. Energy surged uncontrollably in one sector. The Ardent vibrated in warning, but Kai did not panic. Humans were not perfect, they adapted. He recalculated, improvising a secondary system to channel excess energy while maintaining the main resonance. The ship responded, its hull glowing faintly as it worked in tandem with Kai's commands. Hours passed in tense focus. The cluster's chaotic energy pulsed around them, visible as brilliant streaks of light across the observation deck. Alien fleets monitored the situation remotely, jaws metaphorically dropping as a single human orchestrated a solution no civilization had previously imagined. Finally, the energy began to stabilize. The stars, natural resonance harmonized with the Ardent's adaptive systems. The chain reaction halted. The cluster, once on the brink of catastrophic collapse, shimmered and calmed. Kai exhaled, exhausted but triumphant. The galaxy had watched, and for the first time, humans had proven they could solve the impossible. News spread faster than light. Hollow channels broadcast images of the Ardent maneuvering through the cluster, piloted by a human. Commentators across species were stunned. Scholars debated how a species dismissed as reckless could achieve such a feat. Diplomats scrambled to understand the implications. For centuries, humans had been underestimated. Now, the galaxy had no choice but to take notice, yet the victory was not complete. Alien factions attempted to challenge Kai formally, arguing that the Ardent should be returned, or that humans were unfit to command legendary vessels. Kai knew their arguments were political and self-serving, not based on merit. He had faced this kind of doubt his entire life. So he did what humans did best, demonstrated capability rather than debated authority. Kai set a course for one of the galaxy's most difficult trade routes, a passage filled with unstable gravitational anomalies, rogue asteroids, and unpredictable energy storms. Alien experts predicted disaster. The Ardent, guided by Kai, navigated the route with impossible precision. Every maneuver was calculated instinctively, every obstacle anticipated, every system adapted in real time. Observers could only watch as the ship moved like a living organism, responding to a human mind in perfect harmony. The galaxy realized what Kai already knew. Humans were not weak, reckless, or primitive. They were adaptable, creative, and capable of mastering what others deemed impossible. Meanwhile, Kai discovered something remarkable about the Ardent. Its AI, while powerful, had been testing not just skill, but human ingenuity and moral judgment. Systems that could harm or destroy were present, but Kai had never once considered using them recklessly. The ship's respect for him grew with every decision, reinforcing the human approach. Power was most impressive when paired with wisdom. During one quiet cycle, Kai explored a hidden archive within the Ardent. Ancient civilizations, long extinct, had left records, knowledge, and inventions far beyond current galactic science. He realized that humans, with curiosity and ingenuity, could unlock this knowledge in ways no alien species ever could, because human minds were not bound by convention. Word reached him that alien scholars were beginning to advocate for human inclusion in elite councils, arguing that humanity's unique perspective was essential for galactic progress. Some were grudging, others enthusiastic, but all admitted the truth. Humans had shown value where aliens had failed. Kai smiled quietly. Humans had been banned from auctions, dismissed as inferior, and excluded from critical decisions. And yet here he was, piloting the legendary Ardent, solving crises that had defeated the galaxy's finest minds, and rewriting the rules of interstellar respect. The next challenge emerged unexpectedly. A coalition of alien species, impressed and perhaps intimidated, proposed a coordinated mission to explore uncharted regions of space, territories so dangerous that no civilization dared enter. Their proposal was simple: lead the mission, or decline. Decline, and humans would remain marginalized. Accept, and the galaxy would watch humanity in action. Kai did not hesitate. He had learned from the Ardent that humans excelled in situations where outcomes were uncertain and stakes were high. These uncharted regions were perfect. The preparation was meticulous. Kai studied star charts, energy anomalies, and previous explorers' reports. The Ardent's AI suggested hundreds of strategies, yet he consistently modified them with creative adjustments, adding solutions that no alien protocol had considered. He realized that humans' greatest advantage was flexible thinking, the ability to combine knowledge from multiple disciplines, cultures, and experiences in ways others never imagined. When the mission launched, the Ardent led a convoy of ships into the unknown. Hazards emerged quickly: rogue asteroids, energy storms, and pockets of gravitational distortion. Each obstacle had been calculated to be fatal by alien experts, yet Kai maneuvered the Ardent through with a combination of instinct, knowledge, and improvisation. Other ships followed his lead, surviving dangers that would have destroyed them under rigid protocols. In one critical moment, a cluster of energy spikes threatened to tear apart the convoy. Alien captains hesitated, unsure how to respond. Kai recognized an opportunity. By syncing the Ardent's energy field with the cluster, he could absorb and redistribute the energy, turning a deadly hazard into a safe passageway. The maneuver was risky, beyond conventional calculation, but humans thrived on risk when guided by ingenuity. The convoy passed through unscathed. Messages of astonishment poured in from distant systems. Scholars, diplomats, and ordinary citizens marveled at the achievement. Humanity's reputation shifted from a dismissed curiosity to a species capable of leading the galaxy into new frontiers. Kai reflected on the journey from the forbidden auction to this moment. The Ardent had chosen him not because of raw strength or wealth, but because humans possessed something rare: the courage to act where others hesitated, the creativity to solve the unsolvable, and the persistence to endure challenges that would overwhelm more rigid minds. He realized that the galaxy had misunderstood humans all along. Strength alone did not define power. Rules, protocols, and rigid hierarchies could not account for ingenuity. Humans thrived in unpredictability, using curiosity, intelligence, and heart to achieve what others could not. The final confirmation came when the Ardent itself projected a message across the galaxy, a demonstration of the human-led mission's success, highlighting Kai's solutions, the convoy's survival, and the innovative approaches only a human could conceive. Aliens everywhere watched, many in disbelief, as humans took their place not as inferior observers but as capable leaders, innovators, and problem-solvers. Kai smiled at the display. The humans' victory was not loud or violent. It was undeniable, clear, and inspiring. They had achieved what others dismissed as impossible. Humans had not only mastered the Ardent, they had shown the galaxy that adaptability, courage, and creativity were the true measures of greatness. As the stars streaked past in hyperspace, Kai knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy would continue to challenge humans, doubt them, and underestimate them. But now one human had set a precedent. Humans could and would rise to any challenge not through force alone, but through intelligence, creativity, and heart. The Ardent pulsed beside him, a living testament to the partnership between a human and a legendary starship. Together, they had changed the rules, rewritten expectations, and reminded the galaxy that humans were capable of the impossible. And so, Kai Arden, a human once banned from the auction, now led the Ardent into uncharted space, confident, fearless, and ready for whatever the universe would throw at him next. The galaxy had watched, the galaxy had doubted, and the galaxy had learned. Humans were not only survivors, they were pioneers, leaders, and the most unpredictable force the stars had ever seen. For the first time in history, a human had not only owned a legendary starship, but had redefined humanity itself in the eyes of the universe. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, and Kai smiled. Humanity's story was just beginning.